Speaking of audiobooks, how far did you get on that book?
I'm about like chapter 6. Yeah.
Okay, same. Same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm either, I don't know if I finished chapter 6. I'm definitely in chapter 6. Maybe between 1 and almost done with it. But I definitely got to chapter 6.
Right. So the audiobook we're listening to is Elena Cardone.
Kind of tell us how it came in your sphere and why did you encourage us to also get it?
So the last podcast that we made, we talked about making yourself the tallest person in the room. And I was looking up, trying to figure out who said it. And it was actually from a book. It wasn't Elena Cardone. But when I did look it up, a lot of her books did come up. And she actually teaches this class. You pay like $10,000. And it's like a 2-week course on how to just like build an empire, but on like another level. So then I found this book is Build an Empire and Get Everything That You Want, basically. Mm-hmm. And I had an Audible credit and I clicked it. And so I started listening to it. And
what does that mean for you though? Get everything that you want. Like, what does that mean?
So for me, it's to get everything that I want. I really want just the freedom of building an empire, you know, like everybody in your circle is somebody that you trust completely and that you can rely on and they can rely on you. And really it's just about, for me, it's just like pure happiness. I think that's, like the ultimate happiness level. Like you just know everybody in your circle is like your circle and your empire, your court. And you get to choose all of them. And you got to pick out the bad ones and stuff like that. And she says as hard as it is to pick them out, it's worth it. Yeah. And it's worth it for your mind and your health and everything. And even just cutting out, she says, cutting out things like reality TV. I was like, I love trash TV. And I don't bring it into my relationship. But man, like when she said that her and Grant were watching The Real Housewives.
Yeah, dude.
And then they started to fight about stupid things and like realized that's where it was stemming from.
Have you watched Real Housewives?
Yes.
Have you watched?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I can see how that could
absolutely
make it correlate. Because I remember there was a time where I was watching Bad Girls Club.
Oh,
and
dude,
I felt like I was just super aggressive all the time. And it's like, yeah, I know, like what you watch definitely can transcend into like how you're living your life.
Right. No, absolutely, I get it. Definitely. I love trash TV. Oh my god,
so good.
It's so good. My favorite trash TV show is Summer House. Oh my god, it's so good. It's about all these friends, and they're like, a few of them are couples, and they all go to this $1 million mansion. Over the, am I the loud one today?
No. I think I'm the quiet one. So that's why I was just making sure it was good.
Yeah, they all go to a house for the summer, and like every weekend they come back, and it's like so much drama, and it's awesome. It's just really a good show to watch. It's on Paramount Plus or Peacock. They're not sponsoring us, but if you wanted to watch it, that would be good.
That's wild.
Yeah.
TV too.
Yeah. But bringing it back to Elena Cardone, like she just, for the listeners out there, if you need a good book to listen to, it's a very easy read. It's quick or listen. And it's just very motivating, very empowering. She is such an incredible woman and like also a spouse and a mom and just as a person all around. And I think that she's a great role model in my opinion. And I will say I don't want to be as fancy, you know, like she lives a very fancy lifestyle, but I feel like her and Grant, they built this incredible happiness in their life by both of them being on the same page and always like trusting each other and supporting one another. And it's just super important. And I just love it. I really love it. So now I'm looking at like next books of hers to read because she has a few.
Does she? Mm-hmm. I looked it up. Well, I only saw one.
I thought that there was, I'll have to look it up later, but I thought that there was another one. It might have been the course. Maybe it's a course.
Could be.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
We'll let you know next podcast. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And now I'm reading the 10X
right.
method. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again. But this time I'm actually
physical book?
Yeah, I have the physical.
Okay. I only have the audio. I want to listen to an audio. Yeah.
I believe I actually have a second copy that I got for free when I attended his seminar. So I can give it to you if you want.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. So what do you think of the book?
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. No, I really like it. Like I like that she talks about the foundation of the empire. Just, you know, like basically that it's just like who's around you, who's like helping you build it, like who's genuinely there, who's actually actively wanting to build it with you and who has the best intentions to build with you.
Yes.
And that's so important, and like you said, like you don't want to go as fancy, but, just the fundamentals that she's putting out and like her core belief of what the empire should be. It's really admirable. And it's something, to work towards.
It is.
It's been really nice. That's why I kind of listened to it for a while. I was like, okay, cool. Like kind of just breezing through it.
I like took a bath, laid in bed, was like going to sleep, like still listening to the whole.
Like when I looked, I was like, I didn't even realize I was been listening like this long because it kept me going.
What's your experience with audiobooks? I guess it's important from that perspective. I guess that's your first audiobook, right?
Yeah, it's my first. Well, yeah, because this week too, I'm trying to read like a physical book too, and I'm only on chapter 2 on that one. So like, I really like the convenience of audiobooks, and it kind of gets me a little bit more engaged because it's kind of like your friends telling you a story. Like you're subconsciously listening to something while doing something else. So it's a little easier to take in that information, at least for me, because I'm doing it while I'm doing like mindless tasks. Like I was at work mopping and like filling out postcards, like stuff like that at work. So it was good. Listen to that in the back and more convenient.
And we're not sponsored by Audible, but if Audible wants to sponsor us,
I have plenty of books to recommend, dude.
Say it.
Yeah.
But even so, just like one more thing about like I'm just obsessed with it. So like literally right down to from people to clothes. She's like, if there's clothes that you have in your closet that aren't like pushing you and making you feel good and like all of that.
Yeah.
She's like, get rid of them.
It's super tough to come to that conclusion. I call it auditing your environment. And, by the way, I've listened to quite a few books of Grant. So it was very interesting for me to kind of hear the other side.
Yeah.
Because it kind of highlighted the level of responsibility that a partner to deserve a woman to that statue like has to be, so it gave me a little bit more insight on how to approach the content from Grant.
Okay. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, like this is kind of why it matters, because one of the things that he talks about is like, well, you have to be ethical about everything.
Right.
And we were talking about this earlier, and I was like, I don't want to support these type of conversations.
Right.
I feel like because I'm engaging with X person, in a way I'm validating these types of conversations, and I can't really, like, I don't think shit's funny.
Right.
I'm not going to laugh at these jokes. I don't want to entertain.
Like gossip and nasty things.
Right. So it was kind of to bring it back to just the perspective of how I'm approaching the book. It's been very insightful. I'm like, okay, well, the things that I may have not understood previously because I felt like they didn't apply to me. I see why they still apply. Like they can apply to me if I, if you choose to or whatever. But what you're saying about auditing your environment, dude, is so tough. And it's the hardest thing because you're so accustomed to having these conversations with people about mindless shit so fucking often that you begin to alienate yourself from these environments. And a lot of times is like your quote unquote core group because you don't have anybody else. So a lot of times, especially, I call it small town mentality, but I could be wrong.
But it is.
But it's, you don't think that there's more people, right? Like you've known somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 years and you're like, oh, we've just known each other for so long and that's my road dog. And I mean, sure.
Right.
But then it's like at the same time, they're not going to be able to understand why you can't let them borrow your car.
Right.
Or the fact that you feel it's offensive for them to ask you for money when you know that they haven't even tried to make it on their own.
Right.
Like that's embarrassing. But then if you come from that small town mentality, like, oh, it's expected, right? Like, oh, you're supposed to have my back through everything. And it's like, well, like I can help you build a business, and that should be empowering.
Right. I can help you succeed, but I can't just hand it to you.
Exactly. And I think, well, that could be considered as you turning your back on your community or whatever. But then ultimately nobody's handing you shit, and you handing things just out for no reason. You're not helping anybody.
Right.
Because you're not allowing other people to help you because the people in your environment can help you, and that's something that I've encountered consistently is that I keep outgrowing these circles.
Right.
You know?
Like you stop asking for advice from people
like I can't, dude. Like I fucking can't.
People who don't believe in the same thing that you believe in.
Right.
People who don't support your growth and your success. Because there's so many haters out there.
But it's not even haters. It's like, dude, like for example, I have 2 mortgages. I can't roll like I used to.
Right. Yeah.
This is a different level.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
And yeah, it's just like things like that I'm like, it's not that I have to turn my back on X, Y, and Z. It's just that, dude, the bigger problems are coming.
Right.
I need bigger solutions.
Exactly.
It'll be fine. Like, deal with it. No, it's like, I don't need this. I'm going to fucking find something else that's bigger.
Right.
Something that's actually worth it. That's going to keep my attention. It's going to keep me engaged. Like, why am I going to?
Right. And it's important and it's very hard. And a lot of people won't ever understand. But
Yeah. But even the auditing your environment. So what I did for a while is on Instagram, because I had a media addiction for a while. Like I was always on fucking social media. So what I started doing is like, instead of just like not using social media, because apparently like I couldn't do it. So I believed. If I disagreed with just a tiny bit on anything that they posted, or I thought it was annoying, I would just immediately unfollow them. And I was fucking ruthless.
Dang.
And somebody called me out on it, and I was like, and I didn't know how to respond, but I was like, I did. I just kind of said like, I did. Like, fuck it.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you about it.
I can't hold on to this and say like that. I'm sorry, because I'm
right.
not like you. I don't need to be seen. Like I'm limiting the opportunity for bullshit to enter my environment.
Yes.
You know, so I did that for a while and it worked.
Got to keep your energy.
Yeah.
Keep good energy surrounding yourself.
And even the music.
Yes,
Music is so fucking wild.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. When I listen to, like, I'm a big country fan, right? Okay. So, but then when I listened to Jason Aldean's breakup album from like 2008, I'm like, just nuts.
It's still flow.
Yeah, it was still flow. Oh man.
Damn.
But now I don't. Now I don't do that. Now I still listen to it, but it's like it doesn't affect me like it used to. But I used to like feel it different level. Put it into my relationship and like,
like that is me.
Yeah. Like this is me. When it's not, I'm like in a super healthy relationship and it's like, oh. Anyway. But yeah, music. Music is huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good book. Well, so far it's been really good. It's been very insightful.
Right.
And it made me really think about the level of influence that she's putting out. It's different. Because she's coming from the perspective of I'm a wife.
Right.
And not from I build this business.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of women that have very successful businesses. And they try to give business advice, but the advice is not necessarily new because business has been done. Like, yeah, there's new tactics you can learn. Like, you know, I listened to, you know who Mel Robbins is? She has a 5-second rule. She's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And she has a lot of really cool stuff.
Okay.
Like, you should definitely check her out.
I will.
But she's more on the tactics side.
Okay.
You know, it's like, this is how you become a better person for business, though. You know, like it's a business thing. Which is good.
Definitely.
It's definitely good. But that I've seen, for example, you know, now in chapter 6, there's, like I said, it's relatable for me, and maybe because I'm also married, that I could kind of see that perspective. Maybe it gives me a different platform to kind of mull over some of the ideas.
Right.
But it's so new. Because typically those success stories are one-dimensional.
That's so true. You never hear it from the other side. You never hear it from the spouse. I love it. That's why I think maybe, because I have seen a bunch of Grant stuff, but to see like from his wife's perspective,
Right.
And as a wife who has supported her husband's career and been at home with the baby and stuff, like I feel it in like a great way. I'm like, okay, like basically she's validating.
Yeah. Well, the role, right?
Yeah, validating my role as a spouse. Like,
Yeah.
I just, yeah, it hit me on another level. And now I'm like super pumped and motivated and like, yeah.
In what way though? I'm curious because I've listened to probably, I want to say like 60 to 80% of all motivational speeches out there. Right. So I'm curious, like what's different about something like this?
It's just that I feel like it's a perspective that nobody's ever done before. And it's like, yes, she started out as a supportive wife, but now she actually does stuff on her own and also like helps Grant build up. And she even says in it, one of my favorite things she says, I am Grant's biggest asset. It says so confidently. I'm like,
she's like, I work hard to like make sure.
Exactly. She's like, I work out. Attraction is real. Like all this stuff is like being a better spouse. And I'm like, or being like a better for herself even. She talks about how when she had her second baby, kind of lost herself a little bit, was in sweatpants all the time. And Grant walks in one day and was like, so what's with those sweatpants? And she was like, what do you mean? Like, and he was like, you just look like you need to lose a little. And she's like, lose a little what? And he said, leaves. He said leaves. She's like, lose a little leaves? And she knew it. Like, she knew she had to lose weight, but like, he never said anything about it again. But he was concerned for her because they always have maintained healthy lifestyles and stuff. And she had put on a few from the baby and was living in like down in herself and living in sweatpants and just not being her true self. As a mom, like I've been there. I've only have one son, but yeah, like you lose yourself sometimes in motherhood and lose yourself in